basically in New Year party of 2024, I was having a word with my director. He told me that he's in Delhi. Let's catch up, and we were having drinks, and he told me that when you gave your CFA, you did not take any leave. You did it in one go. Why don't you go for your GMAT? And that's when I realized, I think I can do it.
Mhm.
I just have to put my mind to it. I think I'll be able to do it. I just give it one shot. I remember it was 31st of December, and it was, I think, 30 past midnight, and everyone was enjoying New Year. I was just thinking, when will I get my GMAT? And that's when I enrolled. I registered for the exam on, I think, 8th of April. Mock portal is something that I do regret. I should have started that earlier. That's
Mhm.
the biggest regret that I have, because I
Yeah.
started using the portal resources, I think, only couple of weeks before the exam.
Mhm.
And I that's the DI section in the mock portal is absolutely great, phenomenal. Prepare that error log, or at least understand when you're going wrong, right? Highlight that part or make a note of it, because that helped me a lot, because I know I had paucity of time. I have to do everything in my power to, with limited time, with limited question that I'm solving, but I have to understand where I'm going wrong. If
Mhm.
I'm going right, I have to ensure that I never go wrong in that question in future.
Yeah. Hi, Vinayak. It's good to talk to you. Thank you for your time on the Saturday,
Likewise.
on a Sunday evening. And yeah,
Hmm.
congratulations, a very big congratulations on a very brilliant of a GMAT score. You have a GMAT 695. You have that's 98th percentile overall. You have a 94th percentile
Yeah.
in the quant. You have a 98th percentile in the verbal. You have a 93rd percentile in data insights. So overall, a very, very, very good score. And yeah. And how long has this been since you actually gave the exam?
Think it was in early first week of April that I gave my exam.
Uh-huh.
But the journey, I think, started in 2023,
Okay.
if I'm not wrong.
Okay. We will
Yeah,
get to that. Yeah. So it's been quite recent. You're saying this month itself only.
yeah, this month itself.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the first week of April, I gave my exam.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be done with this exam before 15th of April. I had an internal deadline in mind, before my course expires, and there's a long story behind it. We'll
Okay.
obviously
Yeah. But
delve
yeah,
into it, but yeah.
we'll break it into that. So this score was a expected a score for you, or you were surprised to see the score? You were getting consistent level of those levels of scores in your mocks, or just want to get the understanding of how did you feel when you actually got the score?
So it's actually a funny story. 10 days before the exam, I gave my first mock. I scored 445.
Okay.
This next time I gave my mock, I scored 495, then 545, 595. 3 days before the exam, I gave my mock. I think I scored 645. So that's when I just had a word with myself. I think next time I'll score 695, and I ended up scoring 695.
Uh-huh.
In hindsight, I think I should have given a couple of more mocks for that to be 795.
Mm-hmm. But that's great. That's great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's great. It's worked out. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, but the initial strategy when I scored 445 was absolutely flawed for a couple of reasons. Should I
Yeah, yeah,
dive into it, or
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah. So,
okay?
I mean, you can actually begin with because I'm also talking to you for the first time. You can begin by
Yeah, yeah,
telling a little bit about yourself and what
sure.
led you to start this GMAT journey and
Mm.
how you came to know about top 1%.
Yeah. So I was in EY from 2017 to 2021. That's when I did my CA and CMA. I wanted to be in a more finance related role. That's when I took a conscious decision to move to Ketal Advisors, where I'm currently working right now. And we are a mid-market investment banking firm. So that's when I started doing my CFA, and along with my CFA, I thought I'll also give my GMAT. But I enrolled for top 1% in 2023. I had one of my close friend, was a student of top 1%. He ended up scoring 730 at that time. He was earlier scoring 580, 600. So that was a big jump. And he told me,
Mm-hmm.
I'll save you, 2, 3 years of your life, and just enroll with top 1%,
Mm-hmm.
and be done with it. But working in an investment banking profile, there are long hours. So I decided, there was a conscious decision that I'll not give my GMAT right now. I'll focus on my CFA. So I ended up doing CFA all three levels in 2022 and 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, in 2023, I enrolled with top 1%. Then I think I stopped thinking about GMAT for a long time. In 2024, I again enrolled for my, I thought I'll just give my, I am done with my CFA. I think I can give my GMAT right now.
Yeah.
So I enrolled for I enrolled with top 1% again. I had a word with HR. I had a word with her. She told me, just give it your best shot right now, because last time also I enrolled in the course. I actually renewed it a couple of times, and even then I did not get my GMAT. So I thought, she told me that, give it your best shot this time. And again, in February of 2024, when I enrolled, 6 months went by and I did not get my exam. And I called the chance. I was like, just give me one more chance. This is the last time I'm asking for an extension. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, this is the last time we are having this conversation. And again, again I got an extension in October of 2024. 3 months went by. So basically, the work that I was doing, the deals that I was working on,
Mm-hmm.
it was taking a lot of my time. I was working 70 to 80 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not find any time. Even on weekends, I had to work, because we work on very stringent deadlines.
Yeah.
So basically, in New Year party of 2024, I was having a word with my director. He told me that he's in Delhi. Let's catch up. And we were having drinks, and he told me that, when you gave your CFA, you did not take any leave. You did it in one go. Why don't you go for a GMAT? And that's when I realized, I think I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to put my mind to it. I think I'll be able to do it. I just give it one shot. Just, anyways, the extensions are not not a possibility anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
let's do it. So my course was expiring on 21st of April, I think, 2025. So just do it. Just give your exams in the first couple of weeks of April.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I was facing earlier was I was not setting up a date,
Yeah.
for my exam. That's If you don't have a clear target in mind, if you don't have anything, if there's no carrot in front of your face, right, you won't work hard for it. So,
Yeah.
I remember it was 31st of December, and it was, I think, 30 past midnight, and everyone was enjoying New Year. I was just thinking, when will I get my GMAT? And that's when I enrolled. I registered for the exam on, I think, 8th of April. I had a picture in mind. Now the next thing for me to do was, to read and to study for the exam, because
Yeah.
even though I had 2 years of time, I did not even, I did not even watch a single class, and I'll be honest with that. So I had a vision in mind that I know my quants is strong. That's when I thought my
Yeah.
quants were strong, but
Mm-hmm.
that it was very different picture later on. I started working on verbal and CR. I and again, Octave helped me a lot in CR, even or in RC, even on the exam day as well. I went through each and every class, be it the basics, be it the actual classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I read through each and every passage. I think I ended up doing, if I'm not wrong, 120, 130 passages in RC, and I think around close to 300, 400 questions in CR.
Okay.
So that's when I thought that, I'm sorted. I'll be scoring 100 percentile, because and by that time I did not even read quants. I thought I'm very smart, and
Uh-huh.
I'm a mass Olympiad winner, and in my 12th, there was a test called PSA, and I was scoring more than what engineers were scoring. I was in
Mm-hmm.
commerce, so I thought,
Mm-hmm.
my quants is the strongest. But when I gave my first mock, scored 445, had 19 percentile in quants. That's when I thought.
That humbles you
That's
down,
when I
of course.
Yeah. It's like, I think there's some issue. I think there's some software bug. This can't be
Uh-huh.
true. Yeah. So this was a wake up call for me. And during that weekend, I actually ended up doing, so basically before that, I read through all that basic quants classes that before Sandeep so teaches, the actual classes. There is some basic quants videos that you have to watch it. So I have read through them. I've been through them. I've made my notes, but I thought that this is enough. This will get me to that 100 percentile, but actually I was wrong. So during that weekend post that 445 score, I did almost 50% of that 700, 800 questions, and I thought I don't have time to watch the classes now. I have my concept clear. But this is almost basic, but this is something you have to think intellectually, and it's a time bound question. That's the
Yeah.
main issue. That's
Yeah.
when I realized, it's when you're doing a question without untimed, you always end up scoring very high. But when it's a
Mm-hmm.
timed test, it gives you a real picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I ended up doing 50. I stretched, I think, 30 hours in those 2 days, and I ended up doing 50% of the 700, 800 questions in a time manner. And that's when I realized, I think I'll be able to score well.
Okay, okay. So so you're saying, so you're saying, even though you were good at quant, it was more of a issue where you were not using the most effective way to get to the
Yeah.
solution. And was it also the case that you were getting trapped in some sort of language sort of scenarios or DS questions? Were you getting into those traps also?
Yeah, so basically, DS questions. Every time I solved a DS question, I was like, "This option is correct." I
Mm-hmm.
was 90% of the time I was wrong. That's when I realized I had to read the solutions as well. That why is this question wrong? There are obvious traps, that they have for you. And you have to understand that what each question is asking and how you have to solve each of those questions. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Sandeep sir, his explanation even in those that Quant 7 and 800 book, it
Mm-hmm.
was really helpful, and it helped me understand that what thing I have to look at and how do I have to avoid all the traps,
Mm-hmm. Got it.
especially in DS questions.
Got
And
it.
in quants, obviously, practice makes a man perfect. You have to
Yeah,
practice a
of
lot.
course.
That's
Yeah.
what I realized, and I think that was a wake up call. And once I did all those questions, I think I was a bit confident. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a 695 was obviously a breath of fresh air for me. I
Mm-hmm.
because when I was giving my DI, so basically how I gave my exam was, I gave my verbal first because I wanted to be done with all the readings in my first go. When when everything is fresh in my mind, I am not
Mm-hmm.
fatigued in any manner whatsoever.
Yeah.
After that, it was quants, and then it was DI. DI was a conscious call because I know anyways it's everything logical. You have to think logically. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
there are something that you have to
Yeah.
understand it, but yeah, it was logical. So it was verbal, quant, and DI. Yeah, and when I was giving my DI, and when those MSR questions came, and I actually had two or three MSR questions, if I'm not wrong. I think somewhere on those lines, and uh, because Sandeep sir had already taught that whenever there's a MSR question, you can just put it on review and you can solve it later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I always had a you know something of an ego clash in me that I can't just leave it. This is something which I can't. I have to solve it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought if another MSR question come, then what will happen? So that was a struggle in DI section, but I did score a decent score in DI, so that everything went well later on. But
So you would say, when you were initially struggling with DI thing, it was more of a practice thing that is what that was
yeah,
helping you eventually, or that's correct, right?
yeah. So yeah, that is absolutely correct. Basically, once I started utilize, so mock portal is something that I do regret. I should have started that earlier. That's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest regret that I have, because I
Yeah.
started using the portal resources, I think, only couple of weeks before the exam.
Mm-hmm.
And I that's the DI section in the mock portal is absolutely great, phenomenal. The questions, the length and breadth of questions that there is on that portal is something which it helps you to mitigate anything, any curveball that comes on the exam day. That's my takeaway from
Yeah.
the in especially DI section.
Mhm.
Do as many as question as you can do.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to backtrack a little bit. So in verbal, you said you did 300, 400 questions in CR and something like that similar in RC also. So
Yeah, 120 passages in
so yeah.
RC.
So was that learning curve easier for you? Like you were able to do that in a limited amount of timeline, or
Yeah.
was it a bit difficult thing for you?
So, I strategize on how to do my verbal. I used to write all the options, at least that A, B, C, D, E on my exam day, or even when I was doing the practice questions. So basically, it helped me eliminate all the questions, any options which
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
prima facie looked at, these can't be true because of octave, because
Mm-hmm.
something, there could be superlatives, there could be, something on those lines. Octave helped me a lot in that.
Yeah.
So that's and the learning curve, basically I used to highlight anything in red, any passage that I was, even if 50% or more than 50% of the questions were wrong. Let's say there are four questions in a passage, and I was there were two or more than two were incorrect. I was highlighting that entire passage in red.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, out of the 10 passages that I did, five were incorrect. That number gradually reduced to zero. uh,
Mm-hmm.
when I was at my 100 to 110th pass, that list of questions, that the questions
Uh-huh.
set, I did nothing. Obviously, there was one out of four were incorrect, but I never had to highlight any passage. That's when I realized that I'm on the right track. Same went with CR. Initially, I used to look at a set of. I always used to solve in a set of five questions. Initially, four out of five were incorrect. It gradually reduced to one out of 15.
Okay.
So that was, that really helped me, and it boosted my confidence a lot. That I can do it. And other thing that helped me was Sandeep sir. I think he mentioned that in one passage. Just don't read it, understand about it. One passage or one, thing that I most of my passages were wrong was for the Renaissance period, and I
Mm-hmm.
was, I thought, let's read about it. What Renaissance period is? What?
Yeah.
So I actually spent. I still remember it was 5 days before my exam. I went through almost 300 pages. Be it Wikipedia, be it Google searches. I think I spent 5 hours of it on understanding what Renaissance was, what it did to the women, be it elitist, be it any
Mm-hmm.
socialist woman,
Yeah.
how it actually, came about, what happened actually in 14th to 17th century. So that was something, which helped me. So you have to understand what is there in the passage, because finance and anything related to finance was, I think I had that in my back pocket because I knew what it meant. But
Yeah.
anything related to history or law,
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling with it. So basically, I when I read through it, I understood it. That's when my accuracy also started to improve in those passages. So
Yeah.
that's something which really helped me a lot.
I think even if you don't really, I mean, after some, for example, if you're saying that you went for 5 hours just reading on that particular topic,
Yeah,
so after reading on those particular topic for that much amount of time, I think if you come across some sort of difficult passage based on that particular topic,
yeah,
even if you might not understand the major part of the particular topic that is there in the passage, you would still be
yeah,
much more comfortable reading those things because you have done that particular homework. So you would understand the context that they're talking about. So it becomes much more of an easier thing to just understand what thing is where. You're not every word is alien, so that becomes a
yeah.
easier thing. That's what.
That's where Octave helped me.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where Octave and me. But I understood that this is the Renaissance period. You know, I read through it, but even if it was difficult passage, right? Octave came in handy. It was
Mm-hmm.
something. It was like a cheat sheet,
Mm-hmm.
for your exam. That you can. Oh, it's absolutely not the right answer. Just cross it,
Uh-huh.
move on. And within, I think, 20 or 30 seconds, I was down to two options, and it was usually two options, and it easier to select between those two because you can understand, you have read through the passage, you know which is the correct option. Then that's where V and E comes in.
Exactly, exactly. Yes. So during this entire prep of yours, you were saying previously you had a very hectic job. So, how were you managing?
Yeah,
Because you were still working. So, how were you managing your entire
yeah,
working hours and study hours on a weekday basis and also
yeah.
on a weekend? If you can
So
share that.
uh, I had a very good journey with Ketal, where I'm working right now. Got a couple of promotion in 3 years. That's and the kind of work that I was getting was, I basically, before I became a AVP, I got promoted recently. I was handling a team. I was handling mandates. Basically, they were giving me independent mandates to run.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, I tried taking out time. That's what, in even in when I enrolled in, I think April of 2024, I was not able to do my classes, or I was not able to study anything because I was not preparing it strategically.
Yeah.
Post December, when I enrolled that I'll be doing the exam, I first thing that I did was I deleted all the social media apps on my phone.
Yeah.
I used to, I just saw that how much time I spend on any social media, and the number was very high. And
Exactly.
that's when I realized that if I save that time and put that into my studies, I think I'll be able to get a good score. So on weekdays, obviously, it was very tough, and even
Mm-hmm.
on weekends. But I usually try to take out time early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Before I head to gym, I thought, let's at least do these 20 questions of RC. Let's do these 20 passages of RC. These, let's do 50 questions of CRs before I even step out of my house, before I even step out of my chair. But because
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I wake up, I go to my chair and I used to start solving questions, because there were a couple of reasons for those. In the morning, because I had a fresh mind, and my exam was at 8 in the morning. So
Okay.
I think that helped. So basically, I wanted that to coincide when my mind is the most active. So I tried taking out time always early in the morning, couple of hours. And on weekends, I used to stretch it to 4, 5, 6 hours. And last couple of weeks, I stretched to, on weekends, I tried stretching it to 12, 13 hours. And on weekdays, obviously, 4, 5 hours. There I can get time.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, that's manageable, and I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, coming on to your exam day experience, I mean, you already told that what was your sequence. Was there any types of irregular content in terms of the content that was there in any of the topics, or it was very similar to what you were actually practicing?
It was actually quite similar. But, your nerve, when I was started doing my verbal, I still remember. the first question that I read, it looked very simple, but the nerves get to you, and you're
Yeah.
like, all these five options look correct. For some reason, I was like, what is happening? And this has never happened to me before. I thought that, uh, there's something I'm going wrong somewhere.
Mhm.
I took I actually took around 30 seconds to calm myself down. I just took a couple of deep breaths. I looked at the question again. And that's when I realized that, just have a calm mind. Verbal can be your strong suit, even if quants is not. So, I thought that, just let's go it, just let's look at it from a fresh mind. I looked at it again, and that's when I realized that, you know I don't let nerves get to you. I
Mhm.
calm myself down. Actually took, I think, 4 minutes for my first question, and I buckled myself up, and then I think verbal was easy. By easy, I mean, there were some curveballs in the end. One RC passage was really something which, I don't think I spoke to myself. I don't think that's English. This is some other language. So
Okay.
that's that that's where I went. I think two questions in a row I went in, wrong there. And but RC, basically verbal overall was decent. Quants were, initial part was quite easy. Again, the last end leg of it, there were some difficult questions on, some topics which I knew I don't understand. I don't have a good handle on those. But yeah, that's I knew that these couple of questions will be incorrect, and they were
Mhm.
incorrect in the end. So that's fine. And in DI, I think it was easy initially, because in my mind, I know how to handle MSR. I know I read the question first, and then I look at the table, because I think that helped me a lot. It can avoid all the noise that there is in that,
Yeah.
multiple tabs that there are.
Mhm.
So I think MSR was easy, but obviously the graphs questions were something which were really, was so neck and neck that I was getting confused between, the two options, that it could be that, could be, this as well, and that as well. So that two-part questions, and that graph question was something which I really struggled at, in DI especially.
Got it. Yeah.
Verbal, one passage, and couple of CR questions in the end.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So some of the questions had very similar options, like they were very comparative in
Yeah,
terms of that this could be right or this could be right.
absolutely.
Yeah. I get it.
Abs- Absolutely. That 700 to 800, that booklet for RC, that Sandeep search,
Mhm.
if you do that entire 117 passages, I think you'd be ready for everything.
Mhm.
Again,
Correct.
people have a different approach, but people
Uh-huh.
does LSAT. I didn't have any time for LSAT questions. I knew I have to do limited questions, but I have to understand where I'm going wrong. That
Perfect.
is something
Exactly.
that's yeah. And what I also did was, I had, I made a note of all the things, like, summarize is for which tone, and all the error log which Sandeep sir says. And
Mhm.
I also had around 100 words glossary, that, this word is something which I learned new. And before I went for my exam, right, I read those through 100 words, and I still remember a couple of questions that had those same words, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
finally that
Bullseye.
hard work.
Yeah.
Finally,
Exactly.
look, going through dictionary, buying that Oxford dictionary. Helped me.
Yeah.
That is something which helped me a lot. And similarly in CR question, prepare that error log, or at least understand, when you're going wrong, right? Highlight that part, or make a note of it, because that helped me a lot. Because I know I had paucity of time. I have to do everything in my power to, with limited time, with limited question that I'm solving, but I have to understand where I'm going wrong. If
Mhm.
I'm going right, I have to ensure that I never go wrong in that question in future. So
Yeah.
this was something, even when I was marking anything right, I used to spend at least couple of minutes to reading the solution, and
Mhm.
it was really insightful in the the answer, the solution to that 800 RC log, because it had really some insightful things that when you read through it, you understand, oh, I could have gone wrong in this question, or maybe an exam day when my nerves are at peak, this is where I can go wrong. So
Mhm.
if you error log is something which you have to prepare it, if
Yeah.
irrespective. That is something which helped me a lot, actually.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you have already mentioned a lot of do's, which I feel is quite honest. Yeah, that's quite honestly correct. Correct. Yeah. And any
Yeah.
of the don'ts that you would want to suggest, that don't do this. Like this is something that I mean, apart from the part that you were slacking on the idea of actually giving a GMAT,
Yeah.
apart from that.
Yeah. Don't wait for the last couple of weeks to access that mock portal.
Uh-huh, okay.
Mock portal is the best.
Hmm.
I think it could be a case for some other people as well. But I have a tendency that if I'm not done with anything, I won't access that. I won't do any questions.
Mm-hmm.
When you're done with the topic, access that mock portal because it has sectional, it has mock, it has topic wise questions. Do it. I still remember that I was just kicking myself. I wish I would have started a couple of weeks earlier in that accessing that mock portal. But yeah, in the end I have got a
Exactly. The
good
result
score.
matters.
Yeah, there's matters. But yeah, access that mock portal as soon as you're done with the topic. Start doing it because the UI is very similar to what I saw in that exam.
Yeah,
Or
correct.
in some cases, it was actually the same. So
Yeah.
it helps you understand. What happens in RC is you're looking at the passage on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you know all the questions. In Whereas when you're giving the exam, you don't know what the next question could be. It could be inference, it could be primary passage. So don't wait for because you are accustomed to see things in a certain manner. You are taken aback when you see something differently. It actually takes a toll on you that what is the next question, what is the next question. So
Yeah.
that is something which actually I'm glad that I accessed my mock portal, at least even if it was for a couple of weeks. I'm very glad.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, as of right now, I'm guessing you must be planning on going for September round one. Is that the case, or there's some
Yeah,
other
yeah.
plan?
September round one, I'm planning. Basically, I'm targeting finance schools only
Mhm.
in the US only. R1, yes. So to answer your question, yes, R1 and most finance schools in the
Okay,
US.
okay. I mean, yeah, based on your, I'm not a professional, but based on your profile and the score that you have, you will be competitive for any of these schools, frankly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. So good luck with
that's what
that
I
part of
will.
the, yeah, good luck with that part of the
Thank
journey.
you.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I guess it was really great talking to you. And
Likewise.
congratulations again for the brilliant score.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out time. And this is, I hope I could help
Of
a
course.
couple of people, who are struggling with time management. But yeah, it was really, really, I'm so glad that I could be a part of this, this community of top 1%. And yeah, looking forward.